I gotta get my bike all set up. I love these new Carhartt shirts I got. I just took my helmet off. Oh, what a ride. I went down to the beach, everything. I gotta get the battery out of it. I love the e-bike. I wanted a gas bike, but that ain't gonna be any time in the foreseeable. This is my bike until she's destructed, where you couldn't, like, I paid $200. Like, see, that's the thing. My mom's like, where's all your money going? $100 I had to pay for the rubber, new tire. Then I had to pay almost $200, $180, $183 for it to go to the shop and have it go to, which isn't all bad at the end of the day. I'm really happy. I was gonna call him Speedy, but his name's Freedomy. Freedomy. For this area, I mean, we're out in the sticks. Even though it's the city, you got to go through a lot of open concession just to get over to the other side. This thing ain't gonna make it. I mean, it could go downhill, go down the if I hit the Caledon Mountain, I can just roll down it, but I was getting taken advantage of in the big city. My probation officer took advantage of me. She, when I first met her, she had done her research and seen, oh, where I came from a different area. So in the beginning it was, welcome to that. But then once I started to do good in the city, she got very jealous and started playing robberies on me, all that. Because her joke in the beginning was but then I just started doing good. Getting more tattoos, and then I got gold. My videos started to take off. Everything started to do well and everything, and then she got jealous, started doing the fake charges, fake violation, just a lot of stuff. And then I'm at my residence where I rent, and if you don't know, renters have property rights and all types of rights, human rights, just like owners do. If I'm paying and it's a certain time, you can't kick my door in and start doing that kind of stuff. So we talked about that, but she's not looking too good for her innocence. If it ever comes into question, I got so much evidence on her, she'll be going for life. I'm surprised they haven't sent her down to Guantanamo, because we have a lot of, well, they don't do much. I would know, I do a lot of stuff, I know, and they don't do much. I mean, RIP to Japan's president or whatever happened. I mean, that guy didn't do fuck all. I mean, he's not even a man. I mean, he was, but it's like, come on, man. You weren't even aware. You're just standing there. It doesn't even look like you have a pistol or anything. If you're high up, man, you're supposed to have pistol. Okay, and then some idiot shoots you with some fucking garbage electronic trash can gun, because that's what I would call it, a trash can gun. And I like that guy too. I really like that guy, because I used to look at him and say, hey, that ain't a bad looking Japanese guy. I swear. And then, hey, but he was doing the same stupid, and I don't want everyone to have guns either, though. That's the thing. But there is specific people like myself and whatnot that have earned the right to carry and whatnot, but I don't want too many people having them either. But the guy shot him with some homemade electric gun. Yeah, it was very unfortunate. He was just standing there, but it wasn't the day he should have been standing there. That's the very suspicious thing about that one. It wasn't really a day you wanted to see the guy much. It was like, why was he standing out there giving a speech? I mean, we've seen him before, but that day was not the day to see him. It wasn't, I just didn't feel it in my, nobody felt it. I think that's what happened. He came out on a day that he wasn't supposed to go out. Because everybody, like, you have days, there's certain days nobody even wants to see Justin Trudeau. He stays in his house. It's anywhere you live, it's going to be like that. Certain areas are more dangerous. There's certain areas, if nobody wants to see you, I would not go outside. Even in anywhere. The safest places on earth. You already see everybody, you don't want to see him. But I don't know, he got shot. That's unfortunate. But anyways. He wasn't wearing any protection. He didn't have a gun for self-defense. It didn't look like, but then there was a lot of citizens See, because it's a tool. Like once you get to a certain repertoire, there's people that they're not even thinking, or maybe even thinking a lot, and they come in and you're worth all this money. But I don't think that was his role. His role was more of a peaceful role. He wanted to, it was a message he wanted to send, but I know a couple of people that have died like that, where they have this, and that was Jesus Christ. He died with a similar message, and they, he was tortured and then he was killed, and that was supposed to be a lesson. I mean, it was a lesson I learned from when I was a kid. I thought something different of it, and then when you get older, I thought maybe, well, in Christianity, you're supposed to realize that there's obedience and disobedience and yada yada. Was Jesus being too obedient to God? Or did he disobey God? And so, listen, he got killed in his human body, or which was a lot of pain. And it's a very similar story to the guy Abe in Japan and some others. They have a voice, but then they don't have the power behind the voice sometimes to defend it. Or they do, but they choose not to. Justin's the same way. You very rarely hear Justin talk about... I am fairly sure Justin Trudeau owns a firearm. I'm fairly sure. I would be fairly confident to say that he's got a firearm in his house and all that. I'd be very but who knows? He's never been one to, but you could tell he has some. In Canada, we had firearms. My family had firearms when I was born. My dad has firearms now, but we're not talking about American made. We had firearms even before American made in the families. And then they swim slowly, but there's still a lot of, yeah, there's a lot, but it's regulated. It's a hard system to get on top of. I think eventually I'll be able to get on top of it. So I like the system where I've gotten, but I don't want and yeah, so that's why we have the PAL, the system. You have to acquire the license to be able to acquire the firearms. But we have antiques that you can get. So I might get an antique, and some of the antiques are really nice. We used to own a couple antiques. You're allowed to have live antiques and all that as long as it's 1890, and which isn't too long ago anyway. But what is it? But they're very expensive. Only the top of the top people can afford it. Like, my name's StacksAMilli, and I'm very famous, and I worked very hard, and I'm just able to afford it. But hey, no, at the same time, you got cheap guns and all that, where people that don't deserve it, like me, that have worked their way up and were natural born citizens and all that, they got them, and that's a different thing. I don't know how. That's the job of the police. They just busted as much as I would have bought one of those handguns, they had some gun runner and they busted him. And I would have bought one, but at the same time, I only would have bought one, and there was like 150. So whose hands are those guns going to get into? Like me, I'm pretty fairly capable, but then I worry about all the other ones, and that's why we can't. That's why we have that system.